What is up, you guys? Welcome to the Racy Podcast. This is your host, Cristopher Zamora. Welcome to the show. So today, guys, I'm going to speak to you about Marvel's newest movie that just came out. It is Madam Web. I have to say, this movie is not good. It's not good, really. I was looking forward to this movie because this is another Spider-Man type of movie, but it was gonna be like the female version. Like we were going to get a new comic book character on the big screen that had spider powers. And I'm a fan of the other Spider-Man movies, mostly the Tobey Maguire movies when he is the Spider-Man. The Andrew Garfield ones, they're okay. The Tom Holland ones, I think they're overrated. And yeah, we have Madam Web with Dakota Johnson. It wasn't the actresses that were bad in this movie. I think it was just the storyline overall. The dialogue, I don't know, it just didn't make sense. And like the jokes, they were just kind of corny as well for this movie. I don't know, it just seemed like they were just rushing the story and it just didn't connect well, to be honest. And like I thought Madam Web actually had like more superpowers. But like her only power is that she can actually just see the future for like the next 30 seconds or so. I told my brother how I felt about the movie, like once I saw him, and he said, "So she's basically like That's So Raven." If you guys have seen that show from Disney Channel, then you know what I'm talking about. And that made me laugh so much. That was way too funny, dude. That was very funny. And it is kind of like that because she had no other powers. So let's just start from the beginning for this movie. Let's just talk about it. The mom of Cassie Webb, she is someone who is researching spiders. She's just trying to find this type of spider that actually gives powers and is able to heal people, I guess. Like they can make them superhuman. The person that was with her was this guy named Ezekiel. Ezekiel turns out to be the main villain in this movie. Once they actually found this spider that they needed, Ezekiel turned against everybody, against all the... Is the archaeologist the right word? I guess. Well, explorers, I guess. He turned against all the other explorers that were there and he killed them all. And the mom, she did not make it as well. And like throughout this time, she also had a baby on the way. This was Candace Webb inside of her. Since she was about to die, there were people that were living there in the Peruvian Amazon. People that had like the spiders powers as well. They live like in a cave and like people did not really knew about them. They're like indigenous people. And so one of them, he took her to the cave that they were in and like a spider bit her. But she did not make it and the baby was born there on that cave. Cassie was born there on that cave and her mom did not make it out. And the only thing that the indigenous person told the mom before she actually died was that the baby was going to come back for answers. And she did, but we'll get there. We'll fast forward 30 years later. We're in 2003 in New York City. I actually like the effects that they use for this movie. The effects actually look pretty cool. And now we have Cassie Webb. She is a medic and she actually helps save people. And so there was this one accident that almost killed her, right? And that's when everything triggered for her. Like everything, like the powers, they came to her, and now she was able to predict the future. The first thing that she predicted was that her main boss, played by Mike Epps. I haven't seen Mike Epps for a long time. And yeah, he plays as the, I guess, the boss for Dakota Johnson's character. And so she predicted that he was going to die, that he was going to get hit by this upcoming vehicle. And it did happen. He did not make it out. And another thing that she also predicted was that this bird as well was going to die. But this time, instead of actually leaving the door closed, like the window closed, she actually opened it up and she actually saved a life. And then that's when she noticed, oh man, I can actually save people by actually predicting of what's going to happen next. The three girls that she met, they're very important characters to the story. But like the one thing that I did not like is that we only really got to see them in their costumes for only 3 to 4 minutes throughout the movies. And it was like in a dream sequence. Ezekiel, the guy who actually got away, fast forward 30 years later in 2003, he's a rich man now. And he also got the powers of the spider that he took. The spider bit him, but every single night he has been having this dream, this nightmare, I guess, for him, that there was these three girls that were going to kill him. Why? They never really explain why. Really. They really never explain why were they going to kill Ezekiel. And so the three girls, they're, like I said, they're very important characters. And they were all now inside a train with Cassie Webb. Ezekiel was going after them because supposedly he already knew like how they actually looked like from his dreams, and so he actually had like a hacker was able to find these girls. And like the technology, I guess it was advanced at the time. He was able to find the girls just like that. He located them. He located all three girls right on the same train, inside the train. And now he was going to try to stop them. He was going to try to kill them. And the good thing is that Cassie Webb was actually there. She predicted what was going to happen next. And so, one by one, she saw that the same guy, Ezekiel, was actually going to kill them. And so, she actually told the three girls to get out of the train before he actually came in and tried to kill them. And so now the four girls, they started escaping. Ezekiel, he actually has, like I said, the spider powers, and the suit was actually pretty decent. But like the thing is, I don't know why they could not really say Spider-Man. Like they saw the guy on the ceiling and they actually mentioned the name like Ceiling Guy or Ceiling Man. They never really got to say Spider-Man, which was very strange. Oh, and before I move further, the man that was with Cassie Webb, like her partner, like when she's working, his name is Ben Parker. Ben Parker is basically Uncle Ben, Peter Parker's uncle. And also, he actually got to meet Aunt May as well. And he didn't really mention the name to Cassie. I don't know why, which was very strange. Like we both like know these characters because of the older movies that we have seen before. So I'm guessing that was like the only Easter eggs that they actually showed. Those two characters that we know of from different movies that have come out. There weren't really major characters in this movie. So I don't think there was no point for them to actually be there, to be honest. So yeah. And now let's move forward again to the storyline. Now that Cassie had these three girls with her, she had no idea what to do. She actually heard on the radio when she saw this taxi car that she was kidnapping these three girls. But then, like, the story didn't move any further with that story plot. Okay, like, she was wanted, and I was like wondering, where's the police? Were they ever gonna go after her? Like, they just simply forgot about it. And like, the newspapers, there was a newspaper that just came up like later on in the film that showed that three girls were abducted. So yeah, I don't think the newspaper did not work like that back then, so it was kind of strange. But anyways, they actually went into the woods, so because it was like, I guess, a safer place for all four of them. And then Cassie Webb actually went back to her apartment to actually find out what was going on. Like, she looked into her mom's older stuff that she had, like all the research that she has done for spiders, and all of that just made much more sense to her. And like, once she knew everything about that, she then tried to go back to where the girls were, but then the girls actually went to some diner that was close to them because they were getting hungry. And so they saw these boys on the next table. They actually started going to the boys' table, and then they just started dancing right on in front of them. Yeah, what a movie. So Cassie Webb actually had another vision that Ezekiel was actually there now. He was gonna go after the girls. She made it to the diner, and now she was going to fight him, right? And that she was going to die. This was the vision, okay? This was the vision. And now outside the vision, she actually did something else. Instead of just going straight inside the diner, she actually took the taxi car that she took and drove it in the diner where Ezekiel was, so that she can actually take him down. So yeah, that was her plan. Okay, and after that, after the diner scene, they actually went to like a motel. They stayed in for the night. Now the next day, once they woke up, she actually taught them like how to do CPR. And for some reason, I don't know, like the movie, I believe it was on hold for like a good 4 minutes or so. And for some reason, this was very strange. Like, I don't know why was this made. Some executives, I don't know what they were thinking. If you have seen the scene, then you know what I'm talking about, okay? Moving forward with that, that's when she actually told the girls that she was going to go to Peru. And the crazy part is, it took her a week to actually get all the way over there. And so she actually told Ben Parker to take care of these three girls. The three girls actually lied about where their families were. There was one lied about that her mom was actually on a psych ward and that she had nowhere else to go. Another one lied and said that her family was in a different state. And another one told her that her parents, the mom actually did die, and the dad, he was deported from the US and he was no longer inside the country. That was the truth that they told Madam Webb. I guess they just lied because, well, I guess they were just afraid. And now that they trusted Madam Webb a little bit more, so that's where they just opened up and told her the story, I guess. And now, since she left to the Peruvian Amazon, she actually went all the way over there to the cave where she was born. And like the indigenous people, they look very different now. It took them 20 years for their civilization to actually become more modern. They actually advance their civilization very fast. 20 years and their civilization just advance that quick. But anyways, about that, the guy told Madam Web her past, and now she knew what she was. Ezekiel found out where the girls were, and supposedly Ben Parker's girlfriend or wife, she actually was pregnant. And the thing is, now that they were leaving, Ezekiel was going after them. This was when I wasn't paying attention to the movie, because I was like, what is going on with this movie? Like, even the dialogue and the jokes, they were just very messy. So now that Ezekiel knew where they were, Madam Web, she had a vision. The vision actually helped her, and actually she drove the ambulance that she stole from somebody. She actually ran over Ezekiel with the ambulance. Now that Ezekiel was now going after them, they try to escape him, and Madam Web's idea was that she was going to use explosions. No, I'm sorry. She was going to use fireworks to actually distract him, so they can actually get away. And so I'm guessing that was the best scene in the movie. That was the most action that we got. Madam Web again did not have any powers. She only really had the visions. Okay. And she was able to predict what Ezekiel was going to do next. And so she actually won the fight that they had. And that was it. Ezekiel actually fell on the floor. And yeah, that was all it. Oh, and also that Madam Web, she actually got blind because there was a firework that went to her eyes. And that's how she became blind. Basically, that is how her character is in the comic books. We actually got to see that the three girls, they were now partnered with Madam Web. Madam Web was taking care of them. Madam Web told them that she couldn't wait for them to grow up and to become the superheroes that they were meant to be. And that was it. That was basically the story for this movie. Yeah, that was it. I probably might have missed some parts, but that was mostly what happened for this movie. It was terrible, man. There were some plot points that did not make sense, but I do not blame the actors. I think they did the part. I think it was just the script, to be honest. The writers who wrote Morbius are actually the ones who wrote this story for Madam Web, which is crazy because I actually did enjoy Morbius, but this one, man, this one was just terrible, and this is a movie that I do not recommend you to watch. It just insane, man. I was looking forward to this movie, so now that you know what happened, what do you think about it? Does these plot points actually sound convincing to you to go see it, or was it whack? It just really sucks that Sony or any other company, they're not really taking their time on making these movies. They're just trying to put out movies that actually don't work, and people would just want to go see it because they believe it's somewhat relevant to Spider-Man. But no, it was just so terrible, man. They should have done better, to be honest. And this was actually way worse than Morbius. Usually people are comparing this movie to Morbius. I don't agree that Morbius was bad. I actually do enjoy that movie. But yeah, Madam Web, I did not really like it. Like I said, the actresses, they did fine in this movie. Like, all the actors, they were on point. Just the story, man, and the writing. They really could have done way better, man. And yeah, guys, that is it for this podcast. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you guys did enjoy this podcast and want to hear me explain more movies, then make sure to actually follow this podcast on wherever you are listening to it. If you're listening to it on Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, make sure to follow it. And also recommend this podcast to a friend or neighbor that actually likes listening to stuff about comic books. Maybe they will enjoy this podcast as much as you do as well. Anyways, guys, that is it for this podcast. Thank you and take care, guys. Live to the fullest. Bye.